Welcome to Be Evolved, a podcast for parents and educators who prioritize developing possibility and expansion within the total educational process for themselves and their children or students. We invite you to listen to the podcast with your child or student in mind and with yourself at the center of the learning experience. Ultimately, our goal is to bridge the gap between educational expertise and research, translating it into practical action. Gaining knowledge plus taking action is what it means to be evolved. Hi, everyone. How are you? It's November. Can you believe it? It's the season of gratitude, and we're so happy that you are here joining us to talk about summer. Yes, I know it seems almost paradoxical to be in the frigid air that is here in New York City and to be thinking about the blue and sunny skies that summer brings. But here we are doing just that. And I have a very important episode planned for you because Sarah Bergen and I have been working very closely together on providing 3 services that are really going to help our students from grades 6 through 12 with their summer plans. And I want to tell you about them. So if you're interested in working with us, please come on in and be served here. We will be sure you are evolved and really working toward a wonderful summer, but a summer that has impact on your child in the way that they only could produce. And that's because we always start our programs by understanding your student and helping you to have a deeper understanding of your student. And then we want to really work on building those skills that they can build in the summer. And we want to make sure that whatever they're doing in the summer is helping them to be ready for what is next. Yes. So maybe that's high school for our middle school students, and maybe that's college for our high school students. So we really want to call this the pre-college plan, and it is for students who are finishing grade 6 and who are all the way through finishing grade 11. So all of those students are the ones we're talking about today. So let's first start with why. Why would you plan a pre-college summer for your student? Well, in my opinion, there's many reasons, but let me just give you 3, and maybe these will resonate. So the first is for personal growth. We want to make sure that your student discovers new interests, builds independence, tests themselves out in fresh, new settings. Lots of opportunity for personal growth can happen in the summer. The next is connection. They get to find peers, mentors, professionals who open doors, start that networking process, and really also find activities that are going to give them time to in-person connect with others and to make sure that they're building those kinds of relationships beyond even what they're doing in their program in terms of studying or what they're actually learning and those kinds of things. And then, of course, we want to be practical because we'd love to use the summer in addition for résumé and skill building. Yes, you heard it, résumé. Guess what? Every student does have a résumé. They have education, they have activities, they have personal responsibilities in their home that they can start to document. And really, this is the start of all of that work. It's such an exciting time because we can teach our children to keep a working document on their drive to continue to update as they endeavor in any extracurricular, in any curricular program, in any summer program. This is how really fine résumés are born that help students to get even more opportunities down the line. So this is the exciting catalyst that is summer programs. We get to do all of this work with students because we are thinking about summer. Right. So come on in. Let's think about this because I want to now bring us to why this all matters. What is this? What is summer? Why does it matter? Why do we want to think about the summer and plan in a thoughtful, curated way? Well, if you're looking ahead, and many of our families are looking ahead in terms of college planning and what's going to produce the best possible application for your child in the college process, and we look at information from common data sets that College Board produces, in research that College Board produces. We want to make sure that we show this extracurricular involvement over time and the leadership that students have over time. Now, I want to be sure I'm teaching you correctly in that whatever we're putting on our college applications is from grade 9 through 12 only. But it's true that in middle school, we can start the process of unpacking what it is that a student wants to pursue and what they're excited about, what they're not excited about. And it helps us to make the most of that high school experience for a student to be in their zone, to be in their joy and their love and what they're really excited to be developing, right? So we want to make sure that summers are a really powerful place to demonstrate initiative, direction, and impact, right? So beyond even admissions, though, I want to make sure we're also looking at this whole child experience because many of our families come to us, sure, for saying, I would like to go to the best possible college. This is what I want to plan toward. And other families come in and say, that's actually not our primary goal. We're interested, of course, in looking at that higher ed, but more so, we want to make sure our child is developed and in a really wonderful place to grow and develop. So it may be that the extracurriculars are building real life skills, time management, teamwork, perseverance, goal setting, service, adaptability. Whether, your student is coding or doing stage lights or service or soccer, summer is where this enthusiasm becomes momentum. Yeah. So let's jump in. I'm going to give you 3 really key areas of focus. So one is to plan. The next one is to build your resume. And the third is to get those applications going and done and really in a manageable way for your child, right? So the first thing that you'll experience when you come in with us at Evolve, there are 3 services that we offer within this area. One is the plan, so we can tell you where your child could apply and or spend their time based on information you give us. So some of that intake information might include how far you want to travel, what your budget is, what your schedule is, what your child's interests are, what kinds of things are already on the resume, what things maybe are lacking on the resume that we could use the summer to build. What are some of the skills in school that are lagging that we need to use the summer to build? And then how do we build programming around that? Maybe a student needs to do SAT or ACT prep and they need a job, or they need to make sure that they have other types of internships or studies going on in addition to that test prep. There's so many different things that we're bringing into that intake that really informs what that summer plan will look like. Then Sarah and I create the plan for the student, and we present the plan with 6 curated programs of option to the family and the student. And it's all in a spreadsheet with the correct links, the timelines, the things that you need to do to apply. You can really take that and just plug and play and go ahead and actualize. However, if you want help with the application, if there is one, we have an add-on service for that, where you can add on a service that would help you to apply to the program where you'd like to go. Okay. In addition, let's say you're saying, you know what, this is a good opportunity for us to get a resume together and to make sure that we have something really thoughtful in that arena. We also have a service that allows us to work with your child on developing their first or maybe updating their resume. And that's a third service that we have. So it's making your plan, it's applying, and then it's a resume service. So there are 3 separate services that you can do. So you could just do one or you could do all 3. Totally up to you. So just remember, Sarah and I both work as college counselors here. So the good news is when you work with us on this type of planning, we're already primed to think about where your child is headed. That's a mission here at Evolve. We're thinking about how can we get you ready for what's next, right? And if it's, of course, high school and you have a middle school student, we're thinking about that too, because both of us have worked in high school admissions and boarding school admissions. And so we have a lot of those kinds of thoughts as well. So it's really not only an opportunity to get a list of programs for your child that are good fits, but there's also this access to a professional who's really thinking ahead for you in ways that are very unique and also add a lot of value to the experience, right? So it's very important that I spend a little bit of time talking about some of the programs that we provide for families in terms of our lists of programs. So we have programs that are curated and divided by interests. So we can have architecture, art, internships, paid work, summer programs at different colleges. So there's so many different types of programs that we can refer students to. And these are programs that our network of high schools primarily have provided to our students over time. So these are programs that are referred sources from the professionals who do college counseling. So you'll see that there are a myriad of different price points as well for some of them. And also there's a myriad of screens for some of them. So there may be a really high level of application that a student needs to take to get into certain programs, such as maybe the CTY Johns Hopkins program requires a test in to that program. There are even some summer discovery programs that are of the gifted sort, such as those at Yale, for instance, for middle school students, where they have to test in to be able to participate or apply. So we can also help with the access to where to have those tests done. So even just things like that can get done for you, saving you so much time in this process. So know that we have so many different types of programs. It's not just sort of a one size fits all, everybody goes to a college program. It could be that you're doing research with a PhD candidate around an area that you're interested in. It could be that you're taking a New York Times writing course this summer. It could be that you're going over to the Michigan Ross Summer Business Academy, or you're doing Oxbridge in the UK, right? There's so many different types of options that students can get involved in. And I think that's where we can really help break through some of that noise or some of the different options that you heard about that maybe your friends are doing, that maybe you know about, but maybe we're going to bring you some additional options that you didn't know even existed that are really great for what your child wants and needs in their lives. So that's what we love to do, is really make sure that we always anchor our work in understanding the student and really understanding what the family's looking for. That's such a value for how this all plays out for the student. So it's very special because everyone who does get this service with us gets a workbook as well. Even though we're giving you 6 specific programs of recommendation, we're giving you all our programs as well. In terms of everything that we source is there for you as well to look at, and all of our advice on how to apply, all of our advice on how to format your resume, everything is included in that workbook too. So that's such a huge value because it helps the family to expand even their own thoughts. Sometimes they, for example, will come in and give us an intake. They're very clear, this is what we want, this is how we want to do it. And then they'll take a look at the workbook and they'll say, you know what, I didn't even think about this, but I think that they would really like this instead, or this instead. It was something that this workbook provides them with an expansive view of what's even possible within this area. So we've really spent a lot of time updating this and really carefully writing it out for families. So it's an additional add value in for your student. So I'm very excited about that. So please feel free to connect back with us as you're listening, as you're thinking about your summer, as you are looking at your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grader, and give us an opportunity to work with your child on this very important plan for how they're going to be spending their summer. And I promise you, you are going to be delighted at the opportunity to understand your child more deeply, to build their skills, and yours too, by the way, and to be ready for what is next. That's what we're doing here at Evolved. And it's so special to talk with you today about this exciting offer. I hope to see you inside. And I just want to leave you with this last tiny bit of advice, which is be sure to give yourself plenty of time to do this work in terms of planning. Some of these applications are going to come out in the next couple of weeks. It's November right now, but some of the applications will come out in January or even as late as March or May. So give yourself some runway here so that you can have as many opportunities as you can. However, if you're listening to this and it's now May of 2026 and you're thinking, you know what, I probably should have been thinking about this in November, but I wasn't, that's okay. Still come on in and have a conversation with us. I'm sure we can figure out some pathways for your child to have a very meaningful summer, no matter at what point you are coming into the work. That is what we love about our work, is that it's so inclusive to wherever families are starting from. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode about pre-college programs. I do hope to see you very soon. And please, if you love this work, if you love listening to our podcast episodes every month, please be sure to share it with a friend and support the work that we do here at Evolved. It's so very helpful. We get all of our work through referrals, all of it. And it's always the people who are here who experience us and who say to a friend, hey, you should check that work out because there are really for families, they're for kids, they're for, what they stand for, making sure kids are understood, build skills, and are ready for what's next. And you should go and have a conversation with them and see what they can do for you. Thank you so much again for supporting the work. And I hope to see you for our summer planning work. We hope you found this episode of Be Evolved helpful. Please be sure to review and subscribe. It really helps us to reach more listeners like you. Have a question or a topic that you'd like us to explore? I'd love to hear from you. You can reach out at any time at admin@evolveded.com. That's ADMIN at EVOLVEDED.com. Don't forget, you can find the full transcript for today's episode along with our terms, conditions, and disclaimers and privacy policy at www.evolvededucationcompany.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, learn well and live well and be evolved.